Hello everyone, Matthias Key here, coming to you from the year 2024, reading Ancient Prophecies of the Mahdi, the Book of Revelation as prototype for the Islamic end-time Hadiths. We've reached the section titled K15, Satan cast down to earth begins the 7-year tribulation. Revelation. The dragon becomes the main character once again. We encountered him earlier when we studied verses 12, 3 and 4 in section K01. There we already identified him as Satan, leading the fallen angels in rebellion against God, the Almighty. The Creator had originally made them in perfection. They had free access to heaven, but Satan and the devils who followed him into revolt were defeated. Afterward, they spent much time on earth. Their obsession was to torment men and women and tempt them to sin against God. After his fall, Satan was not completely excluded from heaven. On at least one occasion, God summoned him back to consider the faithfulness of Job. The event is described in Job chapter 1. Satan accused Job's faith of being a sham, merely a natural product of God's excessive blessings upon him and his family. God answered by allowing Satan to take the lives of Job's children and to torment him with severe bodily affliction. Incredibly, Job's faith survived these great trials and proved to be true. Then God blessed him even more abundantly than before. At this point in our timeline, we see the verses again, in a case of double prophecy. At the time of the rapture, by God's design, Satan and the devils are in heaven. The rapture comes as a surprise to everyone, including Satan. His answer is to launch war in heaven. Doubtlessly his anger was extreme, seeing that so many people are resurrected and brought to heaven by Christ, his enemy. The archangel Michael and the righteous angels fight back the horde of devils and are victorious. Satan and his followers are cast out of heaven again, this time permanently. They are thrown down to earth. Satan will never again have the opportunity to accuse the believers in heaven as he did against Job. They will be permanently beyond his reach. Heaven is forever purified from contact with the fallen angels. This is part of God's eternal plan and is also prophesied in the Old Testament book of Daniel. Verse 12:1. At that time shall arise Michael, the great prince, who has charge of your people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never has been before, since there was a nation till that time. But at that time your people shall be delivered, everyone whose name shall be found written in the book. A voice from heaven pronounces woe and great distress upon all who remain on earth after the rapture. God is delivering them into the hands of Satan, the master accuser. He is now hurled down to earth to operate among them. Satan knows that all this may happen. He's reading the same Bible we do. He knows that his time is short. Ever since Revelation was written, it is logical that he's been developing contingencies for various scenarios. Through them, he thinks he can ultimately win out against God with his schemes. His most cunning plan of all is for the time after the rapture. He has been preparing to raise up a suitable candidate to take on the role of the beast of Revelation. This man will be the perfect vehicle through which Satan can finally gain dominion over the entire world. Through the beast, Satan will gladly fulfill Revelation's prophecy of an eighth and final godless empire. The prophecy of 12 verse 3 adds detail by portraying Satan as the dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns. He will co-opt the beast as his surrogate, who will also have 7 heads and 10 horns. We will examine the meaning of the heads and horns in section K21. After Satan puts his agent into place, he will look for a way to then hijack control of the prophecies and make his world order of the tribulation permanent. We shall see that God has other plans. The upcoming time will not be of distress alone, but also of refinement. As metal is purified by fire, many people will come to their senses and will ask God to save them. The Antichrist will launch the 7-year tribulation in the next section, but the tribulation will not begin immediately after the rapture. There will first be an interim of some years. This is indicated by some supernatural events prophesied in other books of the Bible, such as Ezekiel 38 and 39, whose timing is best placed between the rapture and the tribulation. The Hadiths, section 815. Sharia is gone. Only the unjust remain. Then a star with a tail will signal the coming of the Mahdi. In these hadiths, Muslims are exhorted to put their hope in Allah and the end times. At the time Islam was founded, He sent Muhammad to be the role model for all Muslims. In the last day, He will send another in the beautiful pattern of Muhammad, the Mahdi. Just before the end time comes, only evil people will remain. This is because Allah will withdraw Sharia law from the earth. Left to their own devices, people will no longer recognize what is good and pleasing to Allah. They will not object to evil. The Hadith says that only heathens, infidels, will remain. This should be reinterpreted in view of upcoming hadiths about the appearance of the Mahdi. At that time, there will still be many faithful Muslims who will recognize and welcome him, but they will be hindered by their false Muslim overlords and by a multitude of non-Muslims. The meaning of this hadith could therefore be that no Muslim nation remains which seriously enforces Sharia. Many nations will claim to be Islamic, but all of them will persist in deviance and disobedience to the decrees of the Quran. These false Muslims judge by man-made laws and comply with rulers who are only nominally submissive to Allah. The lot of them are being misguided by Shaitan. Ka'ab al-Akhbar was an early transmitter of Judeo-Christian Israeliyat traditions, those that are considered uncorrupted by Islam, as we saw in section 816. He was active in the generation after Muhammad's death. He had heard many of the oral sayings of the Prophet and was aware of this future time when Sharia would be gone from the world. He was also familiar with the Christian book of Revelation. He tied the two together to make his own prophecy. When the world has reached this awful condition, a star with a luminous tail will rise from the east before the Mahdi emerges. Many Muslims regard this prophecy as authoritative. Some believe that the star with the tail will be a comet, which is widely considered a sign of coming catastrophe and disaster. Unbelievers will be terrified by the star with the tail. Then the Mahdi will appear. Comparison. Revelation and the Hadiths both tell of a time when people of the world are living according to their own dictates. For Bible believers, this will be the time after the rapture, after Christ takes his followers to heaven. The Holy Spirit has withdrawn from the world and no longer is the restrainer of sin. In the Hadiths, it is the result of Sharia law no longer being in effect anywhere. In my day, it is certainly becoming true that more people across the world are living without regard for any divine power. They are redefining reality for themselves. By this measure, both the Christian and Muslim prophecies are closer than ever to fulfillment. Which account is to be believed? Let us consider the heavenly signs of the two accounts. In Revelation, it is a star falling from heaven, who we learn is Satan. He must be cast down to earth first to set the stage for the coming of the Antichrist. In the Muslim tradition, it is a star with a luminous tail that will be seen before the Mahdi emerges. The Bible tells us that Satan is the originator of evil. God permits evil so that he can demonstrate what good really is in comparison. In this way, he persuades many to follow him with their whole heart. A passage from Romans speaks to this. Romans 9:22. What if God, desiring to show his wrath and to make known his power, has endured with much patience vessels of wrath prepared for destruction, in order to make known the riches of his glory, for vessels of mercy, which he has prepared beforehand for glory. Ultimately, God will establish a new heaven and earth where evil will be no more. He's preparing a home there for all his faithful followers. But the God of the Bible is definitely not the author of evil. He endures it that we might turn away from it and embrace him instead. On the other hand, Al-Falaq, or the daybreak chapter of the Quran, tells us that Allah is the creator of evil. Say, O Prophet, I seek refuge in Allah, the Lord of the daybreak, from the evil of whatever he has created, and from the evil of the night when it grows dark, and from the evil of those witches casting spells by blowing onto knots, and from the evil of an envier when they envy. From an Islamic perspective, this passage is difficult to defend. Could it be that Shaitan, the true creator of evil, is working behind the scenes? It could be the seventh signature of his influence on Islam. The upcoming sections will guide us to more truth. If you have found this video helpful, then please click the like button. I also invite you to subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon to get notifications when I upload new videos. Thank you for watching.